Hello and welcome to my Week 10 predictions. I'm going to be predicting using a metric that I have created called Power Score, which basically just tells you how good or bad a team is based on their stats, based on their overall everything. So let's get into this. Last week I did beat Power Score in predictions by one game, and so I've closed the gap by 2 games overall. First up, on Thursday night, we have the Raiders against the Broncos. The Raiders, you can see with Power Score, they are down there. Their offense is not looking good. Their defense is actually doing better than I thought. And with the Broncos, their offense is a really good score. Their defense isn't as good as I thought that it would have been. They're ranked 14th right now, and so that means that Power Score will be predicting them. I'm going to take the Broncos as well. I think that they're just a better overall team. I think that their defense is better than Power Score is giving them credit for. I think that they'll keep the Raiders almost shut out for most of the game. I think I'll take the Broncos 16, sorry. And now we have the Falcons against the Colts. The Falcons, they are just the weirdest team ever. They win one week against a good team. They lose the next week against the Panthers. Although, bad example, the Panthers are good, but they lost to the Dolphins, right? So that's them. And then the Colts, well, they did fall a little bit after last week in Power Score. They're now 4th instead of 1st. They just lost to the Steelers 20-27. They still have, I believe, the best offensive rank in Power Score, and so but the Falcons, they do get quite a few takeaways on defense, so they have a decent Power Score on defense. But I am going to take the Colts here because I think that they are just the better team. They're not going to lose 2 in a row, I don't think. So I'll take them to win 21-34. Now we have the Browns against the Jets, and despite their records, I do think that the Browns are a much better team than the Jets. And Power Score thinks similarly. Although the Browns are 22nd and the Jets are 28th, they have quite a big difference in their Power Score, almost more than 13 points. The Browns' offense is not good at all. It might be one of the worst in Power Score. And their defense, though, is looking really good. I think that they'll be able to shut down this Jets offense, who's pretty lackluster. I'll take the Browns to win 20-10. And now we have the Saints against the Panthers. The Panthers surprisingly have a winning record. They just came off of a pretty shocking win against the Packers, 16-13. And the Saints, they were sellers at the deadline, and they haven't really been in a close game in a while. I think that the Panthers keep winning against the Saints team, who's really, really bad in all aspects. And the Panthers, I'll take them to win 23-26. Now we have the Patriots against the Buccaneers. This one is a very interesting game. I went back and forth on this one. There are a few games this week that I went back and forth on. Both teams are really good in Power Score, 8th and 10th respectively, and both teams have had really good starts to the season. Good first halves to the season. We're now entering the second half. Patriots, they had a close call against the Falcons. I'll give them that. They haven't beaten a great team except for the Bills, which that game alone pretty much sends them pretty high in my opinion. The Buccaneers, they have played some tough teams. Their last game, this is them coming off their bye. Their last game was against the Saints, which they won 23-3, but then before that, they lost to the Lions 24-9. So I understand Power Score picking the Patriots here, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers to pull off this win 28-34. And now we have the Ravens against the Vikings. This is an interesting one. With Lamar Jackson back, the Ravens seem to have gotten a lot better all of a sudden, which, I'm not super surprised by. Lamar Jackson's a really good player. The Vikings, they got off to a decent start to the season, but then dropped a few games. But they did get back in the win column against the Lions, 27-24, pulling off that upset. So it's just, these are both pretty underrated teams in my opinion in power score, with the Ravens being 25th and the Vikings being 21st. I don't think that they're that bad. I feel like they should be closer to the average, but personally I think that the Ravens are going to continue to improve, so I'm going to take them to win here 27-23. And now we have the Bills against the Dolphins. The Bills, they are also an interesting team. They just beat the Chiefs, which is really good for them, and then before that they beat the Panthers pretty good. I think that there's really no debate here. They're second in power score. I think that they're one of the best teams still. And the Dolphins, they just came off of a 28-6 loss to the Ravens. They're 29th in power score. I'm going to take the Bills every day. Power score agrees. I'm taking the Bills to win 31-20. Now we have the Giants against the Bears. The Bears, they are doing better than I thought they would do. It was a really interesting, fun, close game against the Bengals last week. And before that, they lost to the Ravens 16-30, which is not great. The Giants, though, they lost to the 49ers 34-24, and they're on a 3-game losing streak. They have not impressed in those last 3 weeks, really. They've really, I would say, deserved those losses. So power score is ranked 24th. Bears are up at 7th, which seems a little crazy to me, but I'm still going to agree with power score here and take the Bears 20-28. Next up, we have the Jaguars against the Texans. So I'm pretty sure that CJ Stroud is out for this game. So that itself, I think, leans me towards the Jaguars in their favor. The Texans are just coming off of a very close 18-15 loss to the Broncos. And the Jaguars, I believe that they are coming off a very scarily close win against the Raiders, 30-29. That was sort of scary if you're a Jaguars fan. They're doing well and then they almost lose to the Raiders. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, power scores are ranked 9th and 7th. They're going to take the Texans. I'm going to take the Jaguars, though. I have them winning 19-15. Next up, we have the Cardinals against the Seahawks. The Cardinals, they pulled off a little bit of an upset against the Cowboys. They won 27-17. I think it was a long time coming. They had a lot of close losses in that 5-game losing streak. I think that the Cardinals are finally having the karma come around. They're gonna win more than they did in the first half of the season and going into the second half. But the Seahawks, they're on a roll. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've allowed more than 20 points only once. They've scored over They've scored over 30 points 4 times, is it? I don't know. But needless to say, they're a really good team. I think the power score are heavily underrating the Seahawks. Cardinals, I think, are right where they're supposed to be, which is good for power score, but I think we're both in agreement here. We're taking the Seahawks. I'm going to pick them to win 17-27. Now we have the Lions against the Commanders. The Lions, they just lost to the Vikings, which is crazy. I think that they're going to get this next game right. Jaden Daniels is out for the Commanders. They're not doing well. Their defense is bad and old. Yeah, the Commanders are on a 4-game losing streak. I think that it's going to continue here. I have the number 1 ranked Lions 28-17. And now this is a game that I thought was interesting, but I think that the Rams are just on a really good. They're on a roll. That their last loss was to the 49ers, a 3-point loss, which is a little bit of a fluky game, but I think that the Rams will take this one against the 49ers. The 49ers, they just won against the Giants, which isn't saying too much, but they're pretty beat up still. I'm going to take the Rams to win here, 34-26. This is a game that I went back and forth on a lot. So the Chargers and the Steelers, both teams that I thought were not great a couple weeks ago. Like, they had winning records and all, but I wasn't convinced that they were good. But the Steelers, they just pulled off a win against the Colts, which is pretty amazing. The Colts have been ranked number 1 in Power Score for a while, or at least in the top 2. And the Chargers, they just came off a win against the Titans, which was a little bit close in the first half, but they pulled away in the end. Before that, they blew out the Vikings 37-10. Yeah, it's such a close game in my opinion. Power Score thinks that it's sort of a no-brainer to go with the Chargers. I'm gonna agree with them. I'm gonna pick the Chargers here, 28-24, but I could very easily be wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised. And finally, we have the Eagles against the Packers. This game is another one that I went back and forth. The Eagles have not impressed me that much this season, despite what Power Score says. I mean, actually, they're ranked right next to each other, 12th and 13th. Yeah, I've not been impressed with the Eagles. And the Packers, they look really good against the Steelers, and then after that, they lose to the Panthers, which, like, maybe the Panthers are good, but that's just crazy. And then they also lost to the Browns. Like, what is happening there? Like, they're a really good team, I'm sure of it, but they lose such weird games. But I think that they're not going to lose 2 in a row. I think that they're going to get this win against the Eagles. Power Score's picking the Eagles. I'm going to take the Packers to win 23-27. Thank you so much for watching. Come back next week to see how I did and see my predictions for Week 11.